All right, we're back. Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn, and it is a Tuesday here. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let's get back to the buy-sell in a second. But we mentioned it a little bit earlier. Chris Sims of NBC Sports. You remember last year was very critical leading into the season of Jalen Hurts. Was not a believer. Did not think he was an elite quarterback. Not even close. Didn't think he was a Pro Bowler. Had him way, way, way down on his list of quarterbacks. So he has begun I guess year 2 of his quarterback lists, Derek. So let me give you, I'll give you, God, he goes all the way down to 40. All right. I'll go 40 through 20. Okay. Before we start really digging into the, to the higher ups. All right. But this is, by the way, he hasn't finished his list. He hasn't given, 5 through, or I think it's 4 through 1. He hasn't
4 through 1. Yeah.
Okay. So here's what he has. Desmond Ridder of the Falcons at 40. Sam Howell at the Washington Commanders at 39. Bryce Young at 38. CJ Stroud at 37. Anthony Richardson 36. So it's basically either first year or second year guys there in that grouping. Then he goes Mike White. Mike White, who was with the Jets, is now in Miami. I guess he puts him on there thinking Tua may go down, at some point, which is not out of the question that Tua goes down. But anyway, he's got Tua at 35, or Mike White at 35. Gardner Minshew at 34. So he's kind of hedging his bets on some of the younger players a little bit with this. Taylor Heineke at 33. That's in case Ridder either gets hurt or doesn't play well.
Yep.
Jarrett Stidham at 32. He'll back up Russell Wilson. Jordan Love at 31 from Green Bay. He's got Davis Mills, who is now, I guess, I don't know if he's going to be the backup. He's probably going to be Stroud's backup in Houston. Tyler Huntley, who is Lamar Jackson's backup in Baltimore, is 29. Andy Dalton is 28. We don't know if Dalton or Bryce Young are going to start in Carolina. Sam Darnold's 27. He's in that three-headed monster in San Francisco. Brock Purdy's 26. Kenny Pickett is 25. Baker Mayfield is 24. Justin Fields is 23. Jimmy Garoppolo is 22. Tua Tagovailoa is 21. And Mac Jones is 20. Now, I can see some logic here in some of these lower ones. Like you can't put Tua too high because you just don't know if he's going to be able to stay healthy. Okay?
Right.
So I would normally say you put Tua way ahead of Mac Jones and Kyler Murray and even Derek Carr for that matter, and Ryan Tannehill, who I'll get to in a second, who I think he has ridiculously high. Anything jump out at you there? Anything crazy?
No, nothing. I think Tua is the big one because of the uncertainty of he's shown flashes for a little guy. He's got a good arm. He's got an accurate arm. But of course, when you have the collection of receivers that he has,
yeah, you should be doing something. Yeah,
you should be doing something. So I think Tua would be higher if he could stay healthy. But because of that big gray area with him and his health, I think he's right where you would expect him to be at this point. But outside of that, I didn't hear or see anything that really makes you jump out and say, "Whoa, what are you thinking here?" No.
Okay. All right. Well, so let's pick it up at 19. He's got Kyler Murray at 19. Yeah. And then he's got Derek Carr now with the Saints at 18. This one, I think he's got Jared Goff ranked way too low. I think that this must be, excuse me, he thinks Goff was sort of a one-hit wonder last year. I don't think that's the case, but he's got him at 17 and he's got Ryan Tannehill ahead of him. I'll take Goff all day long over Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, give me Goff, please. I'll take Goff.
He's got Geno Smith at 15. He's got Russell Wilson at 14. I'm surprised at this too, Derek. He's got Dak Prescott at 13.
Wow. I'm sure it's based off last season.
Yeah.
Dak was his own worst enemy.
He was a turnover guy.
2022.
But he's got Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, Matthew Stafford, and Deshaun Watson all ahead of Dak Prescott.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know about Deshaun Watson. I haven't seen enough of it.
He hasn't played football. I mean, a complete season in 3 years?
Yeah. Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback when he can stay healthy and when he has the toys There are some quarterbacks that can take marginal talent and make them into Pro Bowlers. Matthew Stafford needs to be surrounded by the right people to elevate his game. When he has the right people, as we saw just a couple of years ago, look at the numbers he put up.
I think he's breaking down too, Derek. That's the other part. I just don't think at this juncture, he's taken a beating in his NFL career. I don't think he can stay healthy. I don't know that Daniel Jones did enough to warrant being ahead of. I know Russell Wilson last year had a bad year, but I don't know that he deserves to be ahead of Russell Wilson or Prescott or Cousins for that matter. I think he's got him a little bit too high at 11.
Well, if you base it on overall performance, how did he take care of the ball, things of that nature, I can see his point. It's hard for me to agree with anything or a lot of things that Chris Sims says, but I can see why he would give Daniel Jones such a high billing at that point. Daniel Jones played his best season ever in his first year under Daboll. It's a buyer's choice in terms of where do you see Daniel Jones. I think that's what it comes down to.
And some of these, look, it's got to be a leap of faith with Watson because we haven't seen it in a couple of years from him, plain and simple. So
right.
He's got him at 9. So I forget who's at 8, but he's got Jalen Hurts at 7. This is where people are ticked off.
Okay.
So he's got Hurts at 7. He's got Trevor Lawrence at 6, and he's got Lamar Jackson at 5.
Jeez.
Lamar hasn't been able to stay healthy and hasn't, frankly, passed nearly as well in his career as Jalen Hurts has. And I like Trevor Lawrence a lot, but I'm not willing to put him ahead of Jalen Hurts yet.
No.
Too soon.
Now, I look at Trevor Lawrence, what he went through as a rookie under Urban Meyer.
Aaron Rodgers is 8, excuse me.
Aaron Rodgers 8, okay.
Yep. Thanks, Adam.
I look where he has Trevor Lawrence ahead of Hurts.
Yep.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence's rookie campaign was a disaster under Urban Myers and all that mess that was going on down there. I mean, the kid had to find his way. He hit the ground running. He had the quarterback from the start. He completed 59% of his passes. He had 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. But then all of a sudden he gets a real head coach, a real quarterback guru in Doug Peterson. He completes 66% of his passes, 25 touchdowns, and only 7 or 8 picks. And his QB rating was in the mid-90s.
Right.
Big difference. So Doug Peterson, it was like he went through 2 rookie campaigns.
Yeah, really was.
But I don't think he's nearly as efficient yet as a Jalen Hurts. I don't think Trevor still has some of that gunslinger mentality.
Yeah.
He'll throw balls, a lot of times where he shouldn't. And sometimes they're batted down or sometimes they're picked, or he makes this wild completion because his arm is so strong.
Mm-hmm.
He still has to learn, there's certain things you cannot do, because you'll kill the momentum of a drive. He's still learning that. Jalen Hurts has already learned that. Jalen Hurts is very, very sure-handed with the football, doesn't turn the ball over much, even though his interception ratio was right there with Trevor Lawrence. Jalen Hurts, the way think about how many long drives down the field Jalen Hurts has led a team on without making mistakes with the football.
He does not turn the ball over. Ironically enough, he did in the Super Bowl, but he does not turn the ball over.
No.
It's never been a trademark of his.
To put Trevor Lawrence ahead of Jalen Hurts right now is absurd.
Yeah.
But then again, to each his own is his opinion as to why he put Trevor Lawrence up there. I wouldn't have done it ahead of Jalen, but he did it, which is why we're sitting here talking about it, because that's exactly what he wanted when he put this list together.
Yeah. So when these lists are done, I'm not saying this is always the case, because I do think some of the list guys put out are just sincerely what they think. Like it's just based on their analytics and everything else, the film study they do. I don't know Chris Sims well enough to give you any kind of opinion of what he does, but I will tell you that there are certain people that put lists out to piss people off.
Yeah.
To get clicks, to get people reacting. And look, in fairness to him, we're reacting to it. So mission accomplished, Chris Sims, good for you. But I think there are people that believe he has a bias for whatever reason against Hurts. One of the things he said was he tweeted. I'll read you the tweet. I saw it this morning. So let me pull it up from him. Basically, he said the gist of it was, look, I know everybody thinks I hate Jalen Hurts. I don't hate Jalen Hurts. I still think that there's some meat left on the bone in the passing game. In other words, he's missing some throws that he should make. Okay, that fine. But there is an admission there that I had him ranked way too low last year, but I still think he's doing a little bit of that this year, just to crank people up a little bit. So, all right. So his top 4. Look, I don't have a giant beef with his top 4. I have a little bit of an issue.
Oh wait, what about having Lamar ahead of Hurts?
I have a big problem with that.
Yeah,
I do. He surpassed Lamar as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. I think Lamar is too much of a gambler.
Yeah,
and I believe that's based on Baltimore telling him this is what we need you to be.
Yep.
And let's face it, he didn't always have the best of receivers to throw to, which is why he had to take off a lot of times.
Yeah.
I just think Jalen is a much more complete NFL quarterback than Lamar, even though Lamar has a few years on him.
Yeah.
And Lamar's won an MVP. But Lamar didn't win that MVP for just passing and throwing touchdown passes. Mm-hmm. He also won that for running over 1,000 yards.
Exactly right.
See, and if Hurts wins the MVP, and he very easily could have if he hadn't gotten hurt, it wasn't based on the fact that he was running the football, even though he ran it 165 times. Mm-hmm. It was his ability to protect the football.
Yeah.
You know, it protect the football and keep the offense moving and put the ball in the end zone. And it doesn't make a difference whether he put the ball in the end zone by way of air or ground running the football. He got the job done more times than not.
35 last year, 35 times for Jalen. All right. So lastly, his top 4 he hasn't released, but we can assume Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Herbert in some order.
Right.
The issue I have with that, if you look at the season that Josh Allen had last year, too many turnovers, too many turnovers in the red zone.
Yep.
I have an issue with both of those. And I think he should be ahead of Herbert too. I think he should be number 3. If he ranked the top 3, Mahomes, Burrow, and Jalen Hurts, I'd be perfectly fine with that. But I don't think Allen or Herbert deserve to be ahead of him.
I'm torn on number 3 only because I look at what Allen was under Daboll in 21, and he had to find his way in a lot of cases in 22 under a new offensive guru. So if we want to play tug of war with Hurts or Allen at number 3, I can go back and forth on a number of cases because I think Allen is much better than what he showed last year. I think once he lost his security blanket in Daboll, he struggled more so than you thought he would have. Now he's going to have the same crew this year. He said this offseason, there's a lot of things I saw on tape I know I can improve in. Okay, well, you can talk about it all you want. Now you got to go out and prove it that you're that quarterback from 2021. I like both of their games. 2 different styles of play, even though Allen will take off and run, but he'll run out of necessity. He's not running out of a designed running plays like Jalen is. His arm strength is second to none. Josh Allen's arm strength is second to none. Any quarterback in the National Football League right now. Mm-hmm. His arm is that strong.
Yeah, talent. There's no denying. Yeah, the size, the arm.
I'm torn between those 2.
Yeah,
in terms of who would be number 3.
Okay. All right. So let's circle back to our buy sell here, Derek.
Oh, I got one for you.
Go ahead.
Are you buying or selling that Derek Barnett makes this roster this year? When you look at the talent, depth, what they drafted, are you buying or selling Barnett? Now, I've said time and time again, all last season when he was out, and even this offseason, when I look at Derek Barnett, he reminds me a lot of Brandon Graham in terms of being a first-round draft pick, not living up to expectations, overcoming injuries, and yet the organization didn't give up on him. This organization does a very good job of not giving up on people. We all scream, why is he still on the roster?
Yeah.
So with all that said, are you buying or selling that Barnett makes this roster?
Oh, man, that's a hard one. I'm going to say sell. I don't think he makes it.
Oh.
I'm going to say sell. Yeah. Yeah, I'm selling him. I'm selling him. Here's the issue that he has. Well, they see him in practice, but it's not like he has the ability in a preseason game to go crazy. I mean, I think he'll play, but I don't know how much he's going to play in those kind of games to sort of reestablish himself, if you will. But either way, it's going to be a tough call. I think it's going to be close. I think it's down to the wire, but you only have so many spots. Ooh. I don't think he makes it. Do not.
Really?
Yes.
You giving up on Barnett?
I am.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm shocked, Mr. Ellis.
You think are you selling or are you buying? What are you doing?
Here's my problem with him. Now, we know he makes a lot of mistakes. Yep. He played 14 games in 2019, 13 games in 2020. Those 2 seasons, he had a combined 12 sacks. 6.5 one year, 5.5 the other. Whew. He played 16 games in 21, and he only had 2 sacks. I'm going to sell. I think they're going to try to make a trade somewhere and get something back for him, whether it's a draft pick or another role-type player. You know, Howie loves his draft pick, and we all know they're going to get a boatload of compensatory picks for the players they lost this year, next year. Mm-hmm. I think Howie's going to want to add to that arsenal because I think Howie's going to also make some – there's no way Howie's going to have all those draft picks next year. I think he's going to try to wheel and deal and move up and continue to get better for this team. I think they're going to try to trade Barnett, so I'm selling that he makes this roster.
Okay. All right. Buy or sell. 13 wins for the Eagles.
Ah, man, I knew you were going to say that. Whew. I said it earlier, and I'm going to stick to it. I'm teeter-tottering between 11 and 12, which is still good enough to win a division based on their schedule. So I'm going to sell 13 and say they're going to be right under that umbrella and to get 11 or 12 wins.
I'm selling. I think I've been saying it all year. I think they could be 11 or 12 wins, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing, but I don't think they get that many. I mean, 14 was an unbelievable amount of wins last year.
Yeah.
I think they lose at least 2 more games than that. So I am selling. I don't buy 13.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go with this one. The Eagles win the NFC East. You buying or selling? There hasn't been consecutive division winners in a long time, Gunner.
I think since 2003, something like that. 4.
Crazy, man. Yeah.
I'm buying it.
Okay.
I think with the way Howie was able to bring some people back that we thought were walking out this door, like Bradbury and Cox, and then we heard the rumor that Cleveland and one other team were very interested in Brandon Graham, and he said no, thank you, and he took less money to stay here.
Yeah,
Detroit. You know, he took less money to stay here, and you look at how they drafted. Ooh. Ooh. I think I'm buying to win the division.
I am too, but I don't love it. The history is just not great with it.
Right.
You know, if anybody scares me the most, it's Dallas, obviously. But I also
Brandon Cooks on that roster now,
and Stephon Gilmore too,
and Gilmore. Yep,
they've added some pieces. But that's the other thing. You know, how much does that division beat each other up too and cannibalize each other?
Yep.
So
the Eagles have owned the Giants. They've owned the Giants in recent years, but that could change. You know.
Yeah.
Washington, I think they win both games against Washington. They split against Dallas. The whole division basically plays the same schedule, except Washington, being the last place team, has 1 or 2 more weak sisters on the schedule because they get a last place schedule. But I still don't think Washington has the talent, especially at the quarterback, to make a serious headway in the division. So, you're right. I think they are going to beat. I think that the other 3 are going to beat up on each other a little bit. But I think when the punches stop flying, I think the Eagles stand victorious in the center of the ring.
Okay. James Bradbury over under 3.5 interceptions. He had 3 last year.
James Bradbury over under 3 interceptions. Man, you're killing me, Rob. Wow. Man, Bradbury over under 3 interceptions. let's see. James Bradbury was their most consistent. It was their most consistent.
He was
all year, outside corner.
Yeah.
The most interceptions he's ever had in a year was 4 his last year with the Giants. Am I buying or selling? He gets over 3. Oh, you said over 3?
3.5.
3.5. Jeez. Can it be a push?
Not at 3.5, unless there's a new stat that I'm not aware of. That's why I forced you to pick. Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna buy. It gets at least 4.
Okay. I'm buying too. I'm buying. Look, I think that he's content. He knows this. Well, I know it's a new coordinator, but he has a pretty good idea of the principles of the system. Yeah, I think he wants to back up the contract that he got. So I'm buying it. I'm buying. All right, let me give you another Hurts. Over under 13 rushing touchdowns, which he had last year.
Ooh, over under. Jeez. I'm going to say under.
Okay.
Just because of all the backs that he has this year.
You're selling. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm selling that one.
Okay. I'm selling it too. I just think there's a little less carry, but this is hard because, like, what else are you going to do on the goal line? Why would you risk handing it off if he can just keep it and you still have the tush push? It's a tough one.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, like I think he's going to be really close. Like I think that one is right around that number, like 12 or 13, like right in that sweet spot,
right
for him. All right, let me give you one more here. Hassan Reddick, over under 14.5 sacks. He had 16.
I thought you were going to say 16. Okay, I'll go over. I'm going to go over.
Okay.
I think he's going to be the feature again on that defense. You can't stop him one-on-one. It's a mistake to try to put a tight end on him, which some teams will have to do because of play formations. I think he's going to be hunting all season long. He's got that dog in him. Now the thing is, he's got to learn the system, Desai's system, and Desai's got to get familiar with him in terms of how he wants to use him. I'm sure Desai studied the film thoroughly.
Yep.
And said, okay, this is how Hassan Reddick is going to line up for me. So they're going to turn him loose. It took Jonathan Gannon a few games to figure it out, but I think Desai is going to turn him loose right out of the gate. And I think I'm definitely buying more than 14.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. Here's what we'll do. There's a few that we didn't get to. I know you have a few more. We'll either roll them into the last segment of the show today, Derek, which I think that's what we'll do. That'll be more fun than rolling it into tomorrow. So let's roll these into the last segment, the ones that we didn't get to, because we have Alex Coffey coming up. We'll talk some Phillies with Alex. Then after that, we'll go to our NFL segment. Included in our NFL segment, we're going to do hot seats. What coaches, and some are obvious and some are not so obvious. And I think some people may disagree with a couple of them, but we'll do that when we come back at 2:00 as well. So don't go anywhere. We'll get some Phillies going here with Alex Coffey, who covers the team for the Philadelphia Inquirer. He's Derek Gunn. I am Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. It's time to tell you about the great folks at Pro Action Restoration. Look, nobody wants to be in the situation where your house gets flooded or you have a fire or you have mold that you need to get taken care of or there's smoke damage. You don't want to be in that spot. But if you are, Pro Action Restoration is the place that you reach out to. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I went through it at my parents' house. I wasn't really sure who to reach out to. Thankfully, I found them, and it couldn't have been a better setup. The place was cleaned up. The crew was professional. The price was right. And from there on, man, I tell everybody about Pro Action Restoration. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. They will work in conjunction with your insurance company also. So again, it could be water, it could be fire, it could be smoke damage, mold remediation. You name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at Pro